let's see. Agenda item 2 is a resolution number 7-14. A resolution to approve an agreement between the City of Laurel and the Fraternal Order of Police Lodge number 11.
Mr. President, just another comment. I think we were going to have to suspend the rules in order to get this done by the 31st. Is that right, Chief?
That is correct. We do need this signed by the 31st of this month.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Okay. So, Council, are we prepared to suspend the rules for our
Mr.
for our
President,
general meeting?
it's an award of a bid, so you won't need to suspend the rules.
Oh,
It's an award of a contract?
okay. All right. So there's no need to suspend the rules then.
The only reason I bring it up is I read the Chief's, and he said that it had to be done by the 31st.
You can still act on it this evening. You were scheduled to act on it this evening anyway.
So once we're working with it, it stops the time from running?
No, you're going to award it
Award
this
it.
evening?
Your microphone's not on, and I'm having a...
The contract is going to be awarded this evening, so they'll be able to sign it by the 31st.
Okay, thank you.
Is anyone, Mayor, anyone presenting?
Marty.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, sir. As we discussed at the last work session, the only major implications of the contract, we have a market adjustment of 2% per year of the contract that is guaranteed, and then we have a step increase at, was that 2.5%? 2.5%, as funded by the city. Right, a 2.5% step increase per year, assuming funding by the mayor and city council. The other was to extend the distance of the police take-home policy. Currently, it is at 20 road miles. We are looking to change this to 25 air miles. And those are really the major changes in the contract.
Thank you, Mr. Fleming. Council, are there any questions or comments regarding, no? Councilwoman Nicholas?
Everything that's in the contract is in the current budget before we vote on it.
Okay. Councilwoman McCrary, any comments? Okay, so once again, we're ready to move forward with this when we convene our general meeting. Agenda item 3 is the Charter Annexation Resolution number 166, second 2014 annexation and annexation resolution to amend the charter of the City of Laurel by the addition thereto of section number 250 entitled Second 2014 Annexation, providing for the annexation of certain properties located on the north and south sides of Maryland State Route 198, between the Patuxent River on the east and the City of Laurel corporate limits on the west, consisting of a total of 132.989 acres of land, more or less, such properties being more particularly described in Exhibits A, B, C, and D attached here too, and the properties north of Maryland State Route 198, 18.8550 acres, being placed in the CG zone, and 1.4330 acres in the PI zone, and properties south of Maryland State Route 198, 4.9290 acres, being placed in the CG zone, and 107.7720 acres in the PI zone. Mr. Brock.
Yes, Mr. President. The city was notified on May the 21st by Bowler Engineering that there were 2 errors in the meets and bounds descriptions that were attached as exhibits to Resolution 164, which is the second annexation of 2014. One error was in the Laurel Plaza Shopping Center, Parcel 2, which is owned by Kimco, and the second error was on Carroll's Western Wear, which is Parcel C. These are both on the north side of Highway 198. It was Mr. Manzi's recommendation that in order to avoid any challenge to the adoption process, that we begin again on the Kimco annexation, beginning with a new resolution, which is before you, which is 166, which will replace resolution number 164 with the errors in it.
Okay, so aside from correcting the errors that were made, everything else remains the same?
Yes, sir.
Okay, council, any comments or questions?
No.
Fairly? Okay, so we are ready to move forward with this at our general meeting.
President?
Mayor?
Jack, and it'll only set us back pretty much 2 weeks, correct? On the
Yes, sir.
It's just so people are aware. I think this is a cleaner way of doing it, and we're probably, I think Jack has talked to the applicant as well. So I'd prefer us to move in this direction.
So then tonight, this will be an introduction, and we'll move as we normally do. Israel?
Mr. President, Charter Resolution 164 is on the agenda, and it will be necessary for you to postpone it indefinitely. 164, and
Okay.
then the last item on the agenda is the introduction of the new Charter Resolution.
Excellent. Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Brock. Thank you,
Yes,
Ms.
sir.
Rao. Anything else, council? For this work session, seeing none, we will close the work session. And if you're ready, council, we will convene our regular meeting. Hearing no one opposed to it, I'll call to order the 12th meeting of the Mayor and City Council, meeting in regular session on Wednesday, May 28, 2014. Please note, if you wish to be heard at this meeting, please sign the speaker list provided on the table at the side of the council chamber. The president has the right to limit the amount of time each speaker has for each agenda item. Each speaker will have 2 minutes to speak for each agenda item. We will have the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Mayor Mo. Ms. Rao, would you please call the roll?
Ms. Crary?
Here.
Mr. Ricks?
Here.
Ms. Nicholas?
Here.
President Smalls?
Here.
Mayor Mo?
I'd just like to note that Reverend Litchfield will not be present, that his wife is ill, and he's attending to her. Agenda item 5 is approval of the minutes. Council, have you had an opportunity to take a look at the minutes? If there
Mr.
are...
President?
Yes.
The minutes were not distributed in time, so if I could ask that you delay vote on those until the meeting on June 16th.
If I read all the notes, I would have picked up on that. Thank you. Okay, we'll then move to agenda item 6, which is a report of the mayor and city council. Tonight, we'll start with Councilwoman Nicholas.
Thank you. I don't have anything to report. I just asked for continued prayers for my brother. He had another heart surgery today, and then my brother-in-law has collapsed, and he's in the hospital. So I just ask you all to continue to pray. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Nicholas. Our prayers and thoughts are with you and your family. Councilwoman Crary?
Thank you, Mr. President. On the 15th, I attended the Police Department Annual Awards Ceremony, and I'd like to send out my congratulations to Jesse Cunningham and all the officers that received awards that night, including the Civil Award to Joni Nolan. On the 17th, I attended the employee yard sale. It was well-attended by booths and people looking for treasures as well. On the 18th, I attended Finish the Fight brunch at the American Legion. That benefit was for Relay for Life. We also attended the Homeowners Association meeting at Wellington. Thanks for having us, and the mayor filled in for the 21st and kept them informed. On the 25th, we went to the Memorial Day celebration up at Ivy Hill. Yesterday, I attended Laurel High School graduation, and they were 373 strong this year, losing only 10 from freshman to senior, and that's quite an accomplishment. The Laurel Board of Trade mixer was last night, very enjoyable. And to Mark and Mark Schmidt and his family, we offer condolences on the passing of his father. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Ricks.
Pretty much I attended the things and echo the sentiments that Councilman Curry has just stated. And I also want to offer our condolences to Officer Schmidt for the loss of his father. I've known the gentleman for many, many years, and he's certainly been a figure around this town and has done a lot of amazing things. And so, Officer Schmidt, my condolences. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Ricks. I had the opportunity to represent the mayor and the council at the Eagle Scout Attainment Award for Eagle Scout Richard Christopher Moyer on Monday, actually. Scout Moyer is with Troop 1250, and it was very, very interesting. I'm a past scout myself, so I never attained Eagle Scout, but it was definitely an honor for me to attend that event. I want to thank our department heads as the city hosted a delegation from the Palestine territory, and we gave an overview of municipal government here in Maryland. We took them on a tour, and I'd like to definitely thank Audrey for her participation in the afternoon and showing them our TV studio. And there were a couple of journalists who were a part of that delegation, so I think Audrey's made some connections there. But I definitely want to extend my thanks to our department heads who took the time to sit for a couple of hours and talk with our friends from Palestine to explain to them all of the wonderful things that we do for the residents here in the city. If I didn't mention this at our last meeting, I'll mention it at this one. I had the opportunity to also attend the Prince George's County Municipal Association's Board of Directors election, where Emmett Jordan, the mayor of Greenbelt, was elevated to president, and Mayor Shai Calvo of Berwyn Heights was elevated to, or rather was elected to vice president, as well as several other municipal officials from Prince George's County who took on treasurer-at-large seats and others. I look for a continuing support, and they certainly encourage the City of Laurel to get re-engaged with PGCMA. And finally, I also attended the graduation of Laurel High School, along with the mayor and Councilwoman Crary, and the small business mixer yesterday evening presented by the Board of Trade. I'd also like to extend condolences to one of our own, Mike Selner, and the sudden loss of his brother yesterday. So our condolences are with him as well as with Officer Smith and his family. Thank you. That's my report, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Let me offer condolences to Officer Schmidt, the passing of his father, William Schmidt. And Bill's been around Laurel a long time, and he'll be missed. And Mark, you have our very best. As you heard, Mike Selner and Walter Boyle, brothers, lost their brother yesterday. Again, condolences to both Mike and to Walt, both very active in the fire department and the community, and we wish them the very best as well during this difficult time. Get well wishes to Mabel Litchfield, also to Councilmember Les and Councilwoman Nicholas. You have our thoughts and prayers with your brother and your brother-in-law as well. Had the opportunity to attend Laurel High School's graduation yesterday, and appreciate the invitation to be with them and wish the graduates of 2014 the very best. Did attend the annual Laurel Police Department Awards Banquet, and again, to all the award recipients, we congratulate them, keep up the good work. We did have to cancel City Hall in the Park. And the next one will be scheduled for July the 23rd at the Greenview Swimming Pool. The Villages of Wellington did have their homeowners association, and we appreciate their board asking us to attend, and appreciate the opportunity to give them an overview and update of what's been going on in and around the city of Laurel. Our joint Memorial Day service, again, I want to thank Chaplain Litchfield for all his work, and especially during this very difficult time that he's had with his wife in and out of the hospital. So again, to our police, fire, rescue, American Legion, Post 60, all of our vets, we thank you, and thank Warren in particular for making sure that it got off without any issues. The Laurel Board of Trade mixer last night, again, had the opportunity to talk to them a little bit about what's been going on in and around the city. We talked about our Laurel app that we have, and remind everybody that they can get that, My Laurel, and download that as well. And there's a piece on there, we want to remind you, a very important piece, which is a service request. If you see something that needs to be fixed, or there's issues around the city, please report them and we'll take care of them. A couple of announcements: the law enforcement torch run. The Laurel leg will run and start at at College Park and end up at the American Legion. I'm sorry. The Laurel leg of the run starts at the College Park American Legion on June the 4th, and they'll come up Route 1. And then on June the 7th, the Laurel Relay for Life will have their opening ceremonies at McCullough Field. We encourage you to participate in that as well and make a donation to a good cause. And my time with the mayor will be at the Laurel Swimming Pool, 4:30 to 6:30 on June the 23rd. And that concludes my report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll just also just kind of conclude with an announcement that the Mayor and City Council meeting scheduled for Monday, June 9th, has been moved to Monday, June 16th. Agenda item 7 is the general public hearing. I'll open the general public hearing at 7:21. I have no one signed up to speak for the general public hearing. Is there anyone who would like to speak? Seeing no one, I'll close the general public hearing at 7:21. Agenda item 8 is the consideration of a recommendation to extend the current contract for speed cameras. Council, we discussed this just a few minutes ago. Chief?
Good evening. Again, just wanted to reiterate that we would like to go ahead and extend the current speed camera program contract with Breckwood Corporation. We'd like to do that as a result of new legislation that will be enacted in the state of Maryland beginning June 1 of this year. We need to act on this if we do have action by the May 31st of this year to get ahead of this new legislation. We want to continue the program in the manner in which it's been run as a result of some of the accolades that we've received for the program, the fairness which in the program has been operated. So we're very happy with what we're doing. We want to continue along that path.
Very good. Thank you, Deputy Chief. Council, what's your pleasure?
Mr. President, so moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, Ms. Rao, please call the roll.
Mr. Ricks?
Aye.
Ms. Curry?
Yes.
Ms. Nicholas?
Yes.
President Smalls?
I vote yes. Agenda item 9 is a second public hearing on Charter Resolution Number 163, first 2014 annexation, an annexation resolution to amend the charter of the City of Laurel by the addition thereto of section number 249 entitled First 2014 Annexation, providing for the annexation of containing properties located in the north and south side of Contee Road, consisting of a total of 63.33 acres of land, more or less, including portions of Virginia Manor Road, Contee Road, and all of Virginia Manor Court, being used as a public right-of-way, such properties being more particularly described in Exhibits A and B attached hereto, and the properties being placed 8.4699 acres in the R55 zone, 14.7651 acres in the R55 zone, and 36.6573 acres in the IG zone. I read the title into the record for the second reading. I have no one signed up to speak on this agenda item. Is there anyone who'd like to speak?
Mr. President, a correction, if this is correct, it says the R5, not 55. Is it 5 or 55?
And which area are you?
The last,
Or 55.
so it's an error?
It does say R5 here. Did I say 5 or 55?
Says both.
Well, for the record, then, let me just state that the 14.7655 acres in the R, is it 5 or 55
That's
zone?
R5.
Okay, R5, okay. All right,
Yeah, there's several different zones there, that's why.
yes, understood.
That's what,
You might want to put the time you opened the record.
Okay. So again, I'll open the public hearing at 7:25. I have no one signed up to speak. Is there anyone who'd like to speak? Seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing at 7:25. What's the pleasure of the council?
We're not acting on that this evening.
This one's got to sit.
Oh, this one's a second. Okay, I'm sorry. Then, what a comedy. Third public hearing and possible action will be on Monday, June 16th, 2014, at 7:00 p.m. Agenda item 10 is a second public hearing on resolution number 164, second 2014 annexation, an annexation resolution to amend the charter of the City of Laurel by the addition thereto of section number 250 entitled Second 2014 Annexation, providing for the annexation of certain properties located on the north and south sides of Maryland State Route 198, between the Patuxent River on the east and the City of Laurel corporate limits on the west, consisting of a total of 124.869 acres of land, more or less, such properties being particularly described in Exhibits A, B, C, and D, hereto attached, and the properties north of the Maryland State Route 198, 10.735 acres being placed in the CG zone, and 1.433 acres in the PI zone, and properties south of Maryland State Route 198, 4.9290 acres being placed in the CG zone, and 107.7720 acres in the PI zone. Council, this is the resolution that we discussed, and we will, I'll take a motion to table indefinitely.
Postpone indefinitely.
Or postpone. Postpone indefinitely.
So moved.
second.
Any discussion? Ms. Rao, call a roll.
Ms. Crary?
Yes.
Mr. Ricks?
Aye.
Ms. Nicholas?
Yes.
President Smalls?
I vote yes. Agenda item 11 is the second public hearing of possible action on resolution, charter resolution number 165, a resolution to amend the City of Laurel charter to make an adjustment in the ward boundaries of the city. I've read the title into the record for the second reading. I'll open a public hearing at 7:28. I have no one signed up to speak on this agenda item. Is there anyone who'd like to speak? Seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing at 7:28. I'll entertain a motion, council, to adopt.
So-
Mr. President,
Councilwoman McCray?
I recommend that we approve Charter Resolution Number 165.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, Ms. Rao, call the roll.
Ms. Crary?
Yes.
Mr. Ricks?
Aye.
Ms. Nicholas?
Yes.
President Smalls?
I vote yes.
Mayor Mel?
Concur.
Agenda item 12 is the second public hearing with possible action on resolution number 1800, text amendment number 232, an ordinance to amend Chapter 20, Land Development and Subdivision, Article 1, Zoning, Division 5, Zoning Districts of the Laurel City Code, providing an effective date. I've read the title into the record for the second reading. I'll open a public hearing at 7:29. I have no one signed up to speak on this agenda item. Is there anyone who would like to speak? Seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing at 7:29. And council, the third public hearing, with possible action, will be on Monday, June 16th, 2014 at 7 o'clock p.m. Court reporter will be present for this action. Agenda item 13 is the second public hearing with possible action on ordinance number 1801, an ordinance to amend Article 4 entitled Dead and Dying Trees Removal of Chapter 7 entitled Garbage, Trash, Weeds, etc. of the Code of the City of Laurel to add additional language concerning what is or is not a hazardous tree and to define when trees will be considered hazardous to the extent that they may be pruned, or they must be pruned. I read the title into the record for the second reading. I'll open a public hearing at 7:30. I have no one signed up to speak on this agenda item. Is there anyone who would like to speak? Seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing at 7:30. What's the pleasure of the council?
Mr. President, so move for the adoption 1801.
I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Ms. Rao, please call the roll.
Mr. Ricks?
Aye.
Ms. Nicholas?
Yes.
Ms. Crary?
Yes.
President Smalls?
I vote yes.
Mayor Mel?
Concur.
Agenda item 14 is the second public hearing with possible action on ordinance number 1802, an ordinance adopting the operating budget of the Mayor and City Council of Laurel, Maryland for fiscal year July 1, 2014 through June 30, 2015. Through June 30, 2105. Is that correct? That should be 2015.
Correct.
Right.
Okay, 2015, and to levy property taxes and to authorize the collection of such taxes and approving the capital improvement program for fiscal year 2015 through 2020. I read the title into the record for the first reading. I'll open a public hearing at 7:31. I have no one signed up to speak on this agenda item. Is there anyone who would like to speak? Seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing at 7:31. Council, what's your pleasure?
Mr. President,
Councilwoman Crary?
I recommend that we approve the budget and the capital improvements program, ordinance number 1802.
A second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Ms. Rao?
Discussion would be that, again, this year, I think the mayor and staff have done an outstanding job of reining in resources that have been depleted because of certain things in government, not only here, but in the state. And I think that although we appear to have lost $3 million in revenue, I think that by some of the things that we have done, I think that we will recoup some of those. And that knowing how effective this government is, I know that we will be able to move forward. But nevertheless, I think we will still be able to operate with the current budget in such a way that we serve the community that we're here to serve. And thank you, Mayor, and the rest of the staff.
I concur. Thank you, Councilman Ricks. Ms. Rao, would you call the roll?
Ms. Crary?
Yes.
Ms. Nicholas?
Yes.
Mr. Ricks?
Yes.
President Smalls?
I vote yes.
Mayor Mel?
I'm going to concur. Let me acknowledge and thank our finance director, Ms. Saylor, for her work, her staffs, Mr. Green, the deputy, as well as Paul McCullough, our public works director, who, as we have said this year, this is the first time we've done it electronically to the council. This is the first time that we have started with the budget, operating budget, as well as the CIP, putting that all together. It took a little bit more time, but it seemed to work out. And again, I really appreciate the hard work that all of you all did, and Christy, you and Marty as well, and all the department heads. So I'll concur and thank the council.
Thank you, Mayor. Agenda item 15 is the second public hearing with possible action on resolution number 6-14, a resolution of the Mayor and City Council of Laurel accepting the Laurel Boys and Girls Club Financial and Operational Review Task Force report. I read the title into the record for the second reading. I'll open a public hearing at 7:34. I have no one signed up to speak on this agenda item. Is there anyone who would like to speak? Seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing at 7:34. What's the pleasure of the council?
Mr. President,
Councilwoman McCrary?
I recommend that we approve resolution number 6-14.
Is there a second?
I second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, Ms. Rao, please call for the vote.
Ms. Crary?
Yes.
Ms. Nicholas?
Yes.
Mr. Ricks?
I'm going to vote yes reluctantly, because I still feel that even though we have worked through the process that we started out to do, I think there is still some information that needs to be brought forward in such a way that it better serves not only the boys and girls of the city of Laurel, but also some of the boys and girls that live outside of the city of Laurel. So I hope that this is a beginning of an open dialogue between the Boys and Girls Club and the city in such a way that we do better serve the boys and girls and even the adults that serve. So, thank you.
President Smalls?
I vote yes.
Mayor Mel?
I'll concur.
Agenda item 16 is the introduction and first public hearing on resolution number 7-14, a resolution to approve an agreement between the City of Laurel and the Fraternal Order of Police Lodge Number 11. I've read the title into the record for the first reading. I'll open the public hearing at 7:36. I have no one signed up to speak. Is there anyone who would like to speak on this agenda item? Seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing at 7:36. Council, I'll entertain a motion. No?
No.
This one can,
First reading.
it's the next one, you gotta suspend rules.
Okay.
Unless you
I
want-
thought we were,
unless you-
I
unless you
thought we
wanna
were moving
suspend.
on this.
I mean, this, you can do that. This is, as everything is funded that is in the agreement. The Fraternal Order Police have already signed off on it on their end. You're basically ratifying what the team for the administration did, which is Deputy Chief Brooks, Mr. Green, and Mr. Fleming.
Mr. President, if you would, I think this has been a long, I wouldn't call it a hard-fought fight, but I certainly would call it a dialogue of people and like minds that want to make sure that our police department is protected in every way and that they get the benefits that they so deserve. So with that in mind, and in fact, as the mayor just stated, it is all funded, and I think that it's gone through every process that I can imagine in every clearinghouse in this city. So with that, I'll make a motion, we suspend the rules.
There's a motion to suspend the rules. I need a second.
Second.
Thank you, Councilwoman McCrory. Any discussion on the suspension? Ms. Rao, please call a roll.
Mr. Ricks?
Aye?
Ms. Crary?
Yes.
Ms. Nicholas?
Yes.
President Smalls?
I vote yes.
Mr. President, I move for the adoption.
Okay,
Second.
we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, Ms. Rao, please call a roll.
Mr. Ricks?
Aye?
Ms. Crary?
Yes.
Ms. Nicholas?
Yes.
President Smalls?
I vote yes.
Mayor Mel?
I'm going to concur. Again, let me thank the negotiating team led by Mr. Fleming and Mr. Green and Deputy Chief Brooks, as well as the Fraternal Order of Police. Again, I think it's important to state, everybody worked together. There was some differences of opinion, and we have funded everything in the operating budget for this year. It's a 3-year contract, and we will be back at the table probably in a year and a half, starting the next process, or 2 years. And so, again, I want to thank the council for working with us. We'll probably talk with the Fraternal Order of Police and do a ceremonial signing as well as we move forward. And with that said, as I said, I'll concur with council action. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Agenda item 17 is the introduction and first public hearing on Charter Annexation Resolution Number 166, Second 2014 Annexation, an annexation resolution to amend the charter of the City of Laurel by the addition thereto of section number 250 entitled Second 2014 Annexation, providing for the annexation of certain properties located on the north and south sides of Maryland State Route 198 between the Patuxent River on the east and the City of Laurel corporate limits on the west, consisting of a total of 132.989 acres of land, more or less, such properties being particularly described in Exhibits A, B, C, and D, attached hereto, and the properties north of Maryland State Route 198, 18.8550 acres, being placed in the CG zone, and 1.4330 acres in the PI zone, and properties south of Maryland State Route 198, 4.9290 acres being placed in the CG zone, and 107.7720 acres in the PI zone. I read the title into the record for the first reading. I'll open the public hearing at 7:40. I have one person signed up to speak. Dino, please, thank you. Please give your name and address for the record, sir.
I am Dino Lathiandra. I'm with the law firm of Whiteford, Taylor, and Preston. I represent Kimco, which is an applicant in this case. We are happy that, well, we are satisfied that the error in this matter was detected. We concur with the manner in which it's being addressed, and we are equally happy that it's only a 2-week delay. So thank you very much for the cooperation of the staff and the city attorney for the assistance in bringing it to the council again today. And we'll be back here in 2 weeks and then 4 weeks for the next proceedings. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor?
I just want to state, because I think it's fair to say, and I know we were on the record of Charter Annexation Resolution 164, which was the second annexation for 2014. Jeff Glazer, who you represent, did come to the podium on 5/12/14 and stated his affirmative in that annexation, and I just wanted to put that in the record. I would think this is still the same, except the meets and bounds were changed. And
Absolutely correct.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank you,
much.
Mr. President.
And my colleague, Mr. Barheit, may have been here at that time as well. He would have been here tonight. His wife had a mishap, and she needed to go to the hospital.
Great. Thank you. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President.
I have no one else signed up to speak on this agenda item. Is there anyone who would like to speak? Seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing at 7:42. Second public hearing will be held on Monday, June 16th, 2014 at 7:00 p.m. That concludes our agenda. Is there any other business to come before the mayor and city council? Seeing none, meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Yeah, I just figured we should.